morning students, welcome back to your 8th standard English class. Okay, today we are in unit 3 prose. Okay, the name of the prose is Sir Isaac Newton, the ingenious scientist, that means clever scientist. Okay, today we are going to see section 2 and last session we have discussed about section 1, isn't it? Yes, what we have discussed is we saw this Isaac Newton's childhood days, okay, and the inventions made by him on that childhood days. Okay, now we are moving to section 1. It is in page number 67. Take that. Isaac's playmates were enchanted with his new windmill. They thought that nothing so pretty and so wonderful had ever been seen in the whole world. Okay, what that Isaac playmates were doing, they were enchanting. Enchanting means what? Delighted. They are happy to see that new windmill. This is a picture of the new little windmill which was which was invented by Isaac Newton. They thought that this windmill was so pretty and so wonderful, and they had ever been seen this in the whole world. They didn't see this in the whole world. They are looking that and they are enchanting. They are talking and they are feeling very happy to see that little windmill. But Isaac said, one of them, "You have forgotten one thing that belongs to a mill." One of that Isaac's friend is saying that you have forgot one thing in this mill. One thing is missing in this mill. Like that he is saying. What is that? Asked Isaac. What is that? Like that Isaac is asking. For he supposed that from the roof of the mill and to its foundation he had forgotten nothing. So after hearing that man Isaac is giving a glance from the roof to bottom of that little windmill, and he said that I have not forgot anything. Then moving to the next one. Why? Where is the miller? Said his friend. What that friend is saying? Yes, where is the miller in this? Where is the miller in this little windmill? Like that friend is asking. That is true. I must look out for one, said Isaac, and he set himself to consider how the deficiency should be supplied. For that, what that man is saying, what that Isaac is saying, yes, that is true only. In this little windmill, that miller is missing, and he started thinking how that deficiency should be adjusted, how we can reset that little windmill. Like that he started thinking. He might easily have made the miniature figure of a man. Miniature means what? Yes, very small model of the man he can make, but then it would not have been able to move about. It could not be able to move and perform the duties of a miller, and it can't perform the duties of the miller. But perhaps some two-legged millers are quite as dishonest. It is quite dishonest as the small quadruped. That means what? Yes, it means 4 feet animal. Okay, quadruped. Quadruped means 4 feet animal. It is that two-legged miller is that person compared the two-legged mill with what? Is this 4 feet animal. Isaac grew older. It was found that he had far more important matters in his mind than manufacture of toys and like the little windmill. What that man is thinking is we have to find many more matters. We have to concentrate on many more matters than manufacturing of toys and little windmills like that. All day long, if left to himself, he was either absorbed in thought or engaged in some book of mathematics or natural philosophy. All the day, that man Isaac was left to thinking. Okay, all the day he used to think anything, and he used to read, and he used to read some important books of mathematics and natural philosophy. He used to read all the books related to mathematics and natural philosophy. At night, I think it is probable, okay, he looked up with reverential curiosity to the stars and wondered whether they were worlds like our own, and how great was their distance from the earth, and what was the power that kept them in the courses. What that man is doing at the night, he used to look the stars. Reverential means what? Due to. Curiosity means what? Eagerness. It is fixed here. See that glossary is fixed here. See that? Reverential means underline and write due to, it is not in a book, and curiosity means eager. Due to the curiosity, he looked up the stars and wondering whether there are some worlds like ours. Okay, and he was thinking about the distance between the stars and the earth, and he also thinking about the planets, how they are revolving around the sun and how they are kept in that orbit. Like that he used to think always. Perhaps even so early in life, Isaac Newton felt a presentiment. Presentiment means what? Come to the glossary given below. Underline this word and write. Presentiment means initiative feeling about the nature. Initiative feeling about the nature. Underline this word and write. It is not given in your book. That he should be able hereafter to answer all the questions. He have to answer all the questions which are asked by by that person's friends and relatives. And then when Isaac was 14 years old, his mother's second husband being now dead, and she wished, and she means who? Isaac's mother wished her son leave school and assist her in managing the farm at Woolsthorpe. Okay, what that Isaac's mom is wishing is, she wished to leave that school, and Isaac's mother wants Isaac to be most helpful in the farm. Where it is? That farm is in Woolsthorpe. For a year or two, therefore, he tried to turn his attention to farming. For 1 or 2 years, that Isaac turned his thinking to farming. But his mind was so bent on becoming a scholar, but his mind does not went to farming, and Isaac's mind went to become a scholar. He wants his mind to become a scholar. Okay, so that his mother sent him back to school and afterwards to the University of Cambridge. So that Isaac's mother sent him back to the school, and then he went to University of Cambridge. This is a picture of University of Cambridge where this Isaac Newton studied. Okay, and then he was the first that found out the nature of light before his day. Nobody could tell that what the sunshine was composed of until then. That person, Isaac Newton, was the first person who invented the nature of light. That means what? See, that light, the sunlight is getting into this person, and while entering in, that sunlight color is white, and while that sunlight is entering out, that is giving various colors as rainbow, isn't it? That is the nature of the light. That was invented and founded by who? Yes, it is found by Isaac Newton. After that, you remember, I suppose, the story of an apple falling on his head, which led him to discover the force of gravitation, and which keeps the heavenly bodies in their courses, okay. And he also find the gravitation, okay, with the help of the on activity. What that is, when this Isaac was sitting under the apple tree and reading something, okay, one day this one apple fell into his head. After that he think why this apple is getting down, why it is falling down like that. This man is thinking and found the gravity, okay, and then found that gravitational force. Because of that gravitational force only, this apple is getting down from the this apple is falling down from that tree, and it is getting on the floor, and it is on the floor because of this gravitational force only. And he is also find that these planets are revolving the sun with the help of these orbits. Because of what? Yes, because of that gravitational force, okay. Now we are moving to the next one. When he had once got hold of his idea, he never permitted his mind to rest until he had searched out all the laws by which the planets are guided through the sky. What this man will do? He will used to think always, okay. He never give rest to his mind. He always used to search out the laws, okay, including that planets are guided through the sky, how the planets are guiding, how the planets are revolving, everything he used to find. He never set his mind to rest. This he did as thoroughly as if he had gone up among the stars and tracked them in the orbits. How he will do? He used to search all the informations about the stars, and he will track all the informations regarding the orbits of the planets as if he was in that sky itself. As a boy, he had found out the mechanism of a windmill. As a boy, he found all the mechanisms of the windmill, and he prepared that little windmill. And as a man, he explained to his fellow man the mechanism of universe. As a man, he used to express, he used to inform all the mechanism of the universe to his fellow men. And then, while searching, he was accustomed to spend night after night in a lofty tower, gazing at the heavenly bodies through the telescope. Okay, what he will do? He used to spend the night in the lofty tower. Lofty means height tower. Okay, what he will do then? He used to observe the heavenly bodies with the help of the telescope. See, this is a telescope picture, and he is gazing, he is seeing all the stars and heavenly bodies with the help of this telescope. Okay, accustomed means what? Something familiar with. That is a glossary for you. And his mind was lifted far above the things of this world. Okay, that Isaac's mind was lifted to the sky. He always used to think about the things of the sky. He may be said indeed to have spent the greater part of his life in worlds that lie thousands and millions of miles away. He always used to think about the world which is far thousands and millions of miles away. For where the thoughts and heart are, there is a true existence. Okay. Then we are moving to the next one. Newton lived to be a very old man and renowned thinker, and was made a member of parliament, and he got that member of parliament and received honor of knighthood from the king. Okay, and he received that honor of knighthood means that award like that. Okay, honor of knighthood from the king. But he cared little for earthly fame and honors. He doesn't care for that earthly famous, okay, earthly fame, name and honors, okay, and felt no pride in the vastness of his knowledge, and he didn't felt any pride or proud regarding the expansion of his knowledge. After that, all that he had learned only made him feel how little he knew in comparison to what remained to be known. He always used to think what we already know and what we have to learn, like that he used to think always. And I seemed to myself like a child, he observed. He saw that man. That means I seem to myself like a child. He saw himself as a child playing on the seashore and picking up here and there a curious shell or pretty pebble, while the boundless ocean of truth lies undiscovered before me. And what that man is saying, I am assuming myself as a child, and I am playing on the seashore and picking up the stones and shells which are placed on the seashore, and I am thinking there is a boundless of truth and undiscovered things are lying under the ocean, and I want to discover that undiscovered things which are lying under the ocean. Like that this man is saying. Who is this? He is Isaac Newton. At last, in 1727, when he was 85 years of old, Isaac Newton died, or rather he ceased. Ceased means what? Stopped. He stopped to live on earth. We may be permitted to believe that he is still searching out the infinite wisdom and goodness of the Creator as earnestly and with even more success than was his spirit animated with a mortal body. He went there and he acts there, and he acts in the heaven as the inventor, and he used to search some things on the heaven also. Okay, he has left a fame behind him which will be as endurable. Endurable means what? Inspiring or delight. Okay, as if his name were written in the letters of the light formed by the stars upon the midnight sky. Okay, how the sky is reflecting? Yes, the sky is reflecting like the Isaac Newton's name as written in the stars. Okay, stars of light in the midnight sky. And here there are two glossary words. Ceased means stopped, and endurable means inspiring or delight. I love to hear about mechanical contrivances such as water clock and the little windmill remarked by George. I suppose if Sir Isaac Newton had only thought of it, he might have found out the steam engine and railroads and all other famous inventions that have come into use since his day. Okay, what that man George is saying, I love to hear all the mechanical contrivances and mechanical inventions of this Isaac Newton. And he also added, this man Isaac Newton had only thought of what? Yes, thought of finding that steam engine. Where is steam engine? See, this is a picture of steam engine and this is railway routes. These are formed by that Isaac Newton, and this is a railroad. This is a little windmill, and this is a water clock which was invented by Isaac Newton, that has come into existence since his day. And wheels are a great invention. This is a wheels. These are a great invention. Man's greatest invention, wheel, is fundamental to transport, agriculture. This wheel is helpful for us to transport things from one place to another, and it will also help us to do agriculture, and it is also helpful in our industry and the world in which we live today, and it is very important in our day-to-day life. Very possibly he might, replied Mr. Temple. For that, what Mr. Temple is replying is very possibility he might, and no doubt a great many people would think it more useful to manufacture steam engines and to search out the system of the universe. Many people, many other inventors, many other scientists may think about the steam engine and little windmill like that, but no one can think about the formation of universe. Other great astronomers beside Newton have been endowed with mechanical genius. Okay. There was a David Rittenhouse. This is a picture of that man, and he is an American. He made a perfect little watermill when he was only 7 or 8 years old. He prepared what? A little little watermill as that man Isaac found, and he used to found that when he was only 7 or 8 years old. But this sort of ingenuity is but a mere trifle in comparison with the other talents of such man. Trifle means what? A small amount of something. Trifle means what? A small amount of something. That means we should not compare the ingenuity, that means clever. We should not compare one man's clever with the other man's. It is very ridiculous. Okay, and then we are moving to syllabification. Okay, in the last session itself we have learnt about what? Yes, prefix, suffix, etc. like that. Now we are moving to syllabification. What it is? Syllabification is an act, process or method of forming or dividing words into syllables. It is a act, it is a process of forming, of dividing the given word into part of words, that is called syllables. It is a splitting of words according to the syllables or unit of sounds or vowel sound. Okay. The process of dividing words into smaller parts of syllables is called syllabification. What is syllabification? Yes, it is a process of dividing the whole word, okay, into smaller parts or syllables. Smaller parts are syllables. It is called syllabification. In simple words, it will be very easy for you. See, it is a pronunciation. It is a pronunciation means how we are pronouncing it. It is a pronunciation having one vowel or one vowel sound, okay, with or without surrounding consonants. It is said to be what? Syllabification or syllable. It may be a whole word or part of word, okay. It is a unit of pronunciation, and that unit or that part of the word must contain one syllable, one vowel at least, or one vowel sound at least, okay. And it may be a whole word or part of a word. And here there are types of syllables. It has 6 types of syllables. The syllables are of 6 types, and they are monosyllabic, disyllabic, bisyllabic, trisyllabic, tetrasyllabic, pentasyllabic, polysyllabic and multisyllabic. Now go and take your book. Now go to page number 72. Monosyllabic words. Now what does it mean by monosyllabic words? It means words having only one syllable called monosyllabic word. Here there are some examples. See that? At, head, tongue, wish, like that, isn't it? Here we are not giving any pause while reading this word, isn't it? If it is an act, we are not giving any pause, isn't it? So it is monosyllabic. It is having only one syllable. Come to second one, disyllabic or bisyllabic words. Words having only 2 syllables, okay. Which words are having 2 syllables? Then that word is said to be a disyllabic words. First read that. Again, if you are reading the word again, means we are giving pause after a, isn't it? Again. So how we have to split it? Again, like that. So this is 2 syllable word, and the syllable falls after the sound a, and each part, here there are 2 part of word, isn't it? Each part of word must have vowel or vowel sound, okay. And read the second word, instead. While we are reading instead, we are giving pause after in, isn't it? So we have to mark the syllable after in, okay. Then it is said to be instead. We are dividing 2 separate words by marking one syllable in between, isn't it? Instead, and in the word in there is a one vowel, and in the word stead there is one vowel, isn't it? You have to check it like that. After that, read all these words and check and analyze whether these are really disyllabic or bisyllabic words, and analyze whether there is a pause and whether the syllables are placed correctly. Okay, read the word, give reading practice, give pause and read, then only you can identify the syllabifications. Okay, trisyllabic words. Words having only 3 syllables are called trisyllabic words. First, read the letter beautiful. Okay, beautiful. While you are reading the word beautiful, how it will be? Beautiful. Okay, wow. That you are. Then it is 3 parts of word. Then it is 3 syllable words. Beautiful, and these 3 parts should consist of one vowel or vowel sound. Okay, this is called 3 syllable words, and tetrasyllable means words having only 4 syllable. Usually while we are pronouncing that, we are giving pause at 3 stages. Okay, so it is said to be called 4 syllable word. And pentasyllabic words means that words must have 5 syllable. Okay, examination means while we are reading that, examination. Okay, while we are reading that, we are giving 4 pauses, and it is having 4 syllable in between, so it is called 5 syllable, so it is called 5 syllabic word. Okay, then polysyllabic words. Polysyllabic words means words having 6 or more syllables are said to be polysyllabic words. And first, read that authoritarian means we are giving 6 pauses, and it is having, this word is having 6 parts. Okay, so it is said to be what? Yes, polysyllabic polysyllabic words. Then here there are given syllabify the following words. Page number 73, there is syllabify the following words given. No, there are 10 words in your book. Okay, you have to mark the syllabification for these words. After that, listening. What you have to do? You have to listen the passage what I am reading. After that, you have to answer the questions given below. Fleming start at breakfast. Start listening. Have your sharp ears. Sir Alexander Fleming, who discovered penicillin, was once forced into an interview in New York by 2 journalists just as he was about to have breakfast. One of them asked him, "Sir, what are you thinking about right now? We wish to know what a great scientist thinks while getting ready for breakfast." Fleming mused a while on the question, and he replied, "I am thinking of something very special." The journalists, who were all ears, drew themselves forward. "I am thinking whether to have 1 egg or 2. Like that, Fleming replied. Okay, Alexander Fleming replied like that. Now what you have to do, you have to read the questions and you have to answer that. Okay, then we are moving to the speaking. Here there is one picture, isn't it? See that picture. Take a few minutes and make hints of the picture. Listen this picture and observe this picture and take some hints of this picture, and you have to arrange the thoughts. Using points you write, you deliver a small speech focusing the issue picturized here. What you have to do? You have to focus and you have to speak regarding some issue which are picturized in this picture, and give an interesting information and give interesting and informative speech. Your speech should include the cause and solution. Your speech should include the remedy for that problem or issue. And tips for effective speaking. Here there are some tips. What are they? Organize your points and ideas well. Don't memorize the speech. If you forgot a point, it will make you nervous. Avoid the things that are of no value and interest to the audience. Before you speak, take a breath, smile and greet the audience. Don't be nervous about the mistake making a mistake. Interesting speech makes your mistakes nothing. Okay, keep these points in your mind and give effective speaking. Then we are moving to the writing skill. What it is? A character sketch is defined as a brief written description of your character. Here what you have to write? You have to write one character sketch. Okay, you have to write about one character, that's all. While writing that character, you have to keep these points in the mind. First one, what? Introduce the person. Highlight his or her character as revealed in the story. And talk about what others say about the character. Write if the character appealed to you with reasons. Support your views with evidence from the text. Okay. Then H. Write a character sketch of any character from a fiction that has made an impact on you. What you have to do? You have to write any character from the fiction. Okay, fiction means novel. From the novel, you have to write any character sketch. Okay, try to write this. Try to do all your exercise homeworks. Okay, and try to write your classwork also. Okay, see you in the next class. Thank you. Bye.